All right, we're gonna try something new out here. 3-2 so far on the season. We're gonna go over some of the schedule, what's happened in the first 5 weeks of the season. Had a lot of great games so far. Obviously, 3-2, not where we'd love to be record-wise, especially in a tough division. Gonna look over our division in the NFC East and a couple other things, depending on what comes to mind as we go. If it works out, I'll come back to this, do a couple more throughout the season, and if I have the time, I'll try to do a post game. Um, Standing right now at the 8th seed, 3-2, not awful, not a terrible spot. I know this whole league is very tough. Even the users that are 0-4, I played against that 0-4 Falcons team. That is a really good 0-4 Falcons user. Couple other teams that are 500 record. I've yet to see the Eagles and the Cowboys, so that should be interesting. They're coming up. Well, the Cowboys are coming up next week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they are. So we'll go over the schedule, a couple recaps of the games. Week 1, the first game, was kind of interesting. The offense all season long, we're going to see that trend of a lot of yardage so far by me. Figuring out the defensive stuff has not gone so well. But against this Raiders team, we fell down early. It was 14-9 at halftime. Only field goals to start the game. Had to storm back late in the third. And at the end, got not a garbage time touchdown, but game sealing touchdown, middle of the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a little bit since I played that game. Again, I'll try to keep more up to date. We did do players of the games on the Twitter account as well, so I'll make sure I'll put a link to the Twitter in the description here. But a really low end passing game, just efficient passing. Only took 2 sacks. 14-19 overall, 1 touchdown, less than 200 yards. The real stunner was I knew coming in that the previous Commanders user, Coach Dax, if I'm not mistaken, had Chad Price get almost 2,000 yards or maybe over 2,000 yards his rookie season. So I really wanted to feature him early on and see exactly what I had. And this has been just a stud running back all season for me. It's a key piece to the offense for sure. Jaden Daniels had that 147-yard touchdown. That was kind of the dagger in this one. Couple different guys just contributing in the rush game. Our run defense, this was what I was most impressed with. I know 5.4 yards per carry, not great, but considering he has Ashton Genty and Kyler Murray just keeping the run game under wraps, forced him to throw, make a couple mistakes. That's where the 2 interceptions come from. And locked down some really good receivers. Dante Thornton, 6'5". I believe he's up to high 80s now. He's got a couple high 80s receivers. Jack Alexander was a guy who had a bunch of stats last year. Only 1 touchdown on 4 catches. We'll go to just my side of it for a second. Receiver wise, I've been trying to figure out how to get certain guys involved. Terry McLaurin, week 1, did not get involved at all. I was just not using him properly. He has 96 speed. You know, I feel like when I think of Terry McLaurin, I don't think of him as a deep threat that much, but that's kind of what he is in Madden, at least in this league. Luke McCaffrey's been solid. I will have to decide if I want to re-sign him. Jeremy Lane, he's been awesome this year. He had a big touchdown in last week's game, but pretty much everyone scored there. My rookie receivers, not really getting much done so far. Offensive line, obviously, only 1 sack given up. That's perfect. I got a lot of my sacks off blitzing. But, yeah, no, Payne. If the best player, Deron Payne, gets a couple sacks on me, I'm going to live with that, especially with X Factor Superstar on. McGee and Santrell, or sorry, not Santrell, but Sainristil, I think that's how you say that. With the picks, this one was a user interception, so take that as you will. Kicking wise, I tried not to kick so much with I forget who it was. I had cut him earlier this year. I'll double check that before I go into the next game. It was John Parker Romo. I didn't need to check it. John Parker Romo, he just didn't have the kick power, and with the kick meter we use in this league, it's not what I'm used to, so I really hate to kick the football. Hint for all the users. Headed into week 2. Another tight win, another game where 400 yards of offense. Overall, just a lot of pass yards. The run game didn't really get going. Total yards gained 500. Then a good kick return, punt return yards, but got a 4th down conversion in this game as well. First time I went for a 4th down. Time of possession is where this game was won. 30-24. 24 points where he only had 5 minutes of possession. Seems kind of like just I didn't play well enough. Now that I look at that, I didn't even realize at the time. Time of possession really doesn't seem to matter as much in Madden as I'd want it to. Penalties also. My teams never really get penalties. I always get kind of lucky with that. But we ended up winning in the last second. We were down in the 4th quarter. Sorry, we were tied. Yeah, down in the 4th quarter. It was a 2-minute drill. Jaden Daniels had gotten hurt the previous drive. And our rookie 5th round pick, maybe 4th round pick, had to come in. 2 touchdowns, 8 for 9. Also, the game-winning 84-yard touchdown to Terry McLaurin. That was the first deep shot I had hit to McLaurin all season long. As you can see, the deep ball game hasn't been there so far with or by week 2 with Daniels. It's still work in progress learning this new roster. On the other end, this is just 14 attempts. I tried to run the ball. It didn't work. The option didn't work. Brian Robinson couldn't. I mean, he was getting some stuff going, but 10-yard run helped that. Even Price, 18-yard run really pumped up those stats. So if you could take away the longest run there, he's 13 for 20. I mean, nothing was really just working in the ground, which obviously makes no sense considering the time possession. Terry McLaurin, his breakout party kind of deal. Also, we kept Drake London in check. That's kind of the key, keeping some of those best guys in check. But Scary Terry, 84-yard game-winning touchdown in overtime. McCaffrey, I believe, had the game tying in regulation. We did opt to kick the extra point in regulation and take it to overtime. He had gotten the ball. I got a defensive stop. And kind of got a little lucky with that because he was really figuring stuff out offensively at the end. Ben Sinnott, just another guy where we're on the bubble if we're going to re-sign him. He doesn't have much interest, only a high 70s. Feel like that this production is 100% replaceable. And for the money he's asking, I don't know if it's worth it. Chad Price did get a lot of work in the air this game. Obviously, 6 catches tied the lead for us week 2. McCaffrey, another big game, 2 touchdowns. Just been a solid piece. I don't want to re-sign him for what he's asking for, but if the production keeps up, it's hard to not. At 6'2", he's got some speed with him. Sack-wise, another, young guys giving up pressure. We'll live with that. Von Cox was a later pick. Rutger, he was a later pick as well. He wasn't even drafted as a center. He was drafted as a guard, and I just moved him inside to center because we were really desperate. Derwin Rogers, another rookie, 70 overall. Drafted him as a 68. Not drafted, undrafted free agent. Picked him up as a 68 star dev. He's now up to a 73, if I'm not mistaken. McGill obviously getting his tackles in. Finally got the first sacks of the season here. Both coming from Edge Portillo, somebody I really am interested in developing, and Morondo. No interceptions. I don't believe there was any turnovers really this whole game. Yeah, no. Daniels had his 1 interception that he threw. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, it's been a while since I played these early games. We're 5 games into the season now. But if I had to imagine, he just baited me into a bad throw. Moody was not the kicker in this game either. This was his stats from his previous team. Been a lot of kicking swaps in transaction tab. That 1 punt inside the 20, by the way, from Stonehouse, that's proceeded to be followed up in overtime. That was his second punt of the game, and that only came in overtime. And I got the 84-yard touchdown. He got me pinned at the 16. Return-wise, return game I feel like has been pretty solid so far for me. I know this one long at 25, but I'm pretty confident that I got my returners down for a bit. Lopez has done a great job. Tutu Atwell, I'm sure everyone knows about Tutu Atwell if you play Madden. Third game, our first loss of the season, brought us to 2-1. Another game, the offense was there, 408 yards. I only gave up 263 yards of offense. How many times do I lose that game? I mean, you see 17 points in the third quarter. I was dominating the second, going into halftime up 21 to 14. And I felt like I had control, and just, as you can see, you don't win games where you have 6 turnovers. And we'll go over that in a second. Jayden Daniels had just signed his big contract extension. He had obviously been hurt the last game, got taken out, and my rookie had to come in and play. Also give up a 2-point conversion. Time of possession a little more evened out this time. But Daniels, 3 picks. I mean, bad enough Drake came in and threw 2, but 1 for 3. It came in at the end of the game, garbage time interceptions. It kind of felt like one was a heave at the end. But Daniels, that's just awful game. Got pressure, a lot of pressure on Milroe. Milroe was the guy we need to stop and contain that game to really light 56% completion percentage. These are games I don't usually lose. Credit to the Seahawks user. He's fun to play against. Like I said, everyone in this league's been so fun to play against. Daniels didn't get really any rush attempts. He did run once. The first play he ran got cracked by a linebacker and was out for the game. Milroe contained him on the ground. One of the hardest things to do in this league. I've seen Milroe's stat line. He's incredible with the guy. Kenny Walker didn't do much. I'm not sure. He must not have Charbonnet anymore, so it's just the one running back. Price, probably his best game of the season. Obviously, the fumble. That hurts in the second half, of fumble on top of 5 interceptions. Could not contain Brackett at all. Jeff Brackett, second year 6'5" receiver. I believe he has some speed to him as well. Very tough to defend. Basically just replacing DK Metcalf with another DK Metcalf. Gave up a late touchdown to his tight end. On the other hand, McLaurin, another big day, 68-yard touchdown. His deep threat. We're finally figuring out how to give him the ball. Lane has been the check down guy for me. Slot receiver. McCaffrey, another big chunk play. Again, tight end productions. It's there. I like what I'm getting out of my tight ends, but it's not exactly what... It's not irreplaceable, and only 6'4", 250. He's not a great blocker. He's okay. But again, I feel like that's something we gotta look to replace in the offseason. Pressure-wise, again, Cox gives up another sack. I'm not worried about my rookie lineman giving up 1 sack a game. If it happens, it happens. Sometimes it's my fault. Now, this is what I really want to emphasize. If we can just keep this pressure up, Kinlaw, Drake Jackson getting back there, defensive tackles. More linebacker pressure has been awesome. Guerrero got a sack. Again, another one from Medrano. And defensive tackle pressure is there. 1 sack from this D tackle, half a sack from Kinlaw, and Newton getting back there a couple times as well. So 3 defensive tackles able to generate pressure. That's going to be something we're going to have to look at, because if we have 3 of them doing it, then one of them can probably go. This isn't the NFL where you need, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, and Jordan Davis. I don't rotate my tackles enough. Quan Martin got a pick as well, his first on the season. Safeties, generally what I'm going to be using. I'll switch it up here and there, but that was a user pick. I remember that. That's when he kind of didn't abandon the pass game, of course, but I feel like he started to play more conservative, trying to not make mistakes, and that's we coached him into a hole for a bit, and he just forced me to make a bunch of mistakes, and I kept the foot on the gas, and it was a mistake. I'm not sure if this was Moody's first game or second game, or first game, or if next week was his first. I can't quite remember if I missed that field goal. And then Lopez, another decent day of returning. So 2-1 to start off. Then we go to Carolina, another shootout, another trend. 400 yards gained. You're going to see that, I think, a lot this year. I'd like to think my offense is one of the more efficient ones in the league. Kick return, punt return yards are just amazing. Total yards gained almost 700. Third down conversions, not much conversions in general. Both of us got a fourth down. The red zone percentage is what I'm really happy with here. He could not make his red zone appearances touchdowns. 16%. I mean, even me, only 50% touchdowns. But again, time of possession, I've been controlling that stat pretty much all season long. Jayden Daniels, not super efficient completion wise, 11 to 17. But when you add the 3 touchdowns onto it in the yardage, it's a really good game. Brooks Garland, he's had a good year so far with his quarterback, so not surprised. Another good one against what seems like one of the worst defenses in the league. Chad Price, this was his coming out party. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kept Kyren in check for the most part. Or more so, he didn't keep Kyren involved. 7 to 90, 45-yard run. Then Jayden Daniels had a rushing touchdown. That was a big one. Short red zone. Trying to get red zone stuff working is not easy in this league. Receiving wise, Jonathan Sanchez, his first time really getting on the field this season, had 2 jump balls, broke a bunch of tackles, and turned them into touchdowns. Really, honestly, just lucky. 89 yards a rack. Every one of this, both of these 2 catches, he broke at least one. I know his second touchdown was on a post route where he broke 2 tackles and just no one can catch up to him. 6'2", 220. You'd like to see a big receiver being physical, but unrealistic to keep expecting that. That's why he's not getting more time. He's an interesting prospect for sure. I can't wait to. This is to be the guy to replace Luke McCaffrey if I do decide to not re-sign him. McLaurin, quiet day, got his touchdown on the goal line, but nothing really impressive. McCaffrey again, deep shots. Sanat didn't do anything. Just trying to spread the ball around a lot. You can see Donovan Edwards coming and get a catch. Try not to spread out the stats so people can't just focus on one thing. Cox again, another sack. Another day with Quan Martin with a bunch of tackles. Rodgers gets a bunch of tackles again. Sacks-wise, we got good pressure. Tackles for loss have been nice as well. No picks. No fumbles. No field goals and punts. Surprisingly, a game I scored 42, 5 punts, only 1 touchback. But again, it happens. Sometimes your offense just stales out for a bit, as we'll see in the next game. We got 6 turnovers against Seattle, another loss to the Dolphins. This was just last night. It was really fun. I had the ball with under a minute left. I threw my last interception, which, I mean, it probably was over. It was going to take an onside kick. I had taken 5 onside kicks that game, 4 or 5 onside kicks. I could not stop this guy. I mean, we scored just the fourth quarter alone. Second quarter and fourth quarter were just scoring explosions. I was down 14-0. Finally started to come back a little. Third quarter went slowed down again. Ended up having a 53-point fourth quarter, 68-55. It's just disgusting. Neither defense deserved to win this game. He turned it over 3 times, another 6 turnover game by me. Most of them my fault, just wrong button. At the end of the half, I threw one. I believe he scored off that wrong button where I threw to the corner post. I meant to throw to the flat. It happens. Only one third down conversion for him. I didn't even get him into third down situations. He was getting me into third and fourth down a lot, and granted, I feel like I scored enough, obviously. Controlled time of possession. Could not stop the speed. Daniels, 4 interceptions. I did take his quarterback out for the year, so his rookie, Levi Walker, he is done for the season. That was a really nice game. I guess it was a dev trait game, fighting for rookie of the year, and season comes to an end, so he has to go back to his rookie from last season, Vinny Heller. None of his quarterbacks really are high overall, and we might have just tanked this guy's stats, or not stats, but his development. Obviously, he's low 70s, mid 70s maybe. Not looking good for that situation. His backup comes in, throws a touchdown and a pick. 4 interceptions, just not good enough. And then fumbled twice. I had 6 turnovers. I'm not sure who had the other fumble, but yeah, no, fumble from Price, that was costly. This fumble from Price, we were driving down 2 scores in Price fumbles, and that just felt like the dagger, and then I started to force some stuff. Otherwise, besides the fumble, not a bad day. Devon A-Chain, 3 touchdowns in the air. I think he had 4 total touchdowns. His fumble as well. That was costly, under 2 minutes, and again, I couldn't have capitalized off of it, but it gave me a chance. Waddle had a huge 66-yard touchdown on the Wildcat. Put Waddle in the Wildcat for all 4 of his attempts. The first one, he got that touchdown. I didn't even see it. Wasn't paying attention. Daniels also had 2 touchdowns on the ground. But I got to pay more attention to things like that, because you can't put Waddle in the backfield and have somebody not notice it. It's just awful by me. Again, this game was bad in all parts. Like, Woods got 2 big catches. I think he had 2 70-yarders. And McLaurin trying to keep that volume up. McCaffrey, again. These games make me want to re-sign McCaffrey, but the price tag's just not good. So Lane having a good day. Lane just completely lost. I'm not sure his corner's name. It's somebody he drafted. It's an X-Factor corner that he just... it shouldn't have made the catch. Should not have made the catch. Great throw from Daniels, but catching a flipping pass usually doesn't happen. Gave up another sack. Not going to complain about that. 1 sack a game I'm okay with. Martin, he's going to end up leading the team in tackles at this rate. Tackles for a loss were huge this game. A bunch of it. Couldn't get as much pressure as you'd like. Only 2 sacks. And again, my sacks numbers have been pretty low this season. More interceptions. I know I baited him into 1. I can't remember the second one. Drake Jackson also forced a fumble, which is nice. We'll see who recovered it, just to check. Alexander. So I always like to see a rookie making an impact. He almost scored the touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, or he did score the touchdown. 2 defensive touchdowns. I forgot about that. Yeah, this was a user pick 6 to start the game, and then that was to tie it up, and then after that, it all went downhill. Alexander, again, rookie scoring a touchdown on defense is always nice. 1 field goal, missed extra point, and a blocked extra point. So we'll have to work on that. It was a rain game. A lot of wind, so that explains the missed extra point, but can't miss kicks in high-scoring games, especially. Close games, not even high-scoring, just close games in general. Punt-wise, we're really happy with our punter. Kick return yards, obviously, you're going to have a lot of kick returns with as many games that we had, or points that we had. I'm not sure. I don't believe he had yeah. Our kick return defense has been pretty good. We'll look at a couple other things, break down the division a little bit, and look at the future schedule. Cowboys, this is going to be a huge game coming up. We have yet to play an NFC East rival, and again, our division looks really strong. Worst team is 2-2 right now, so by the time we see everyone, they might have a winning record. Cowboys will definitely have a winning record in his first game, as he is 3-1. 2-3 for the Giants. again, not far behind. In this league, 2-3, 3-2 is the difference of nothing early in the season. We'll see if anyone's won divisional games. I really don't love how my schedule worked out. All my division games coming late. I guess that gives me time to figure out my team before the most important games of my season. But division-wise, yeah. So the Giants are. That's where he's in trouble. Where he's already lost the 2 divisional games. You lose another one, that might wrap it up for him. Losing 3 games. I know the Eagles has been in the past 2 Super Bowls. So that's going to be a great test game. We have him week 15 and 17. That's going to be a great test to see how we line up with the top dogs in the league. Otherwise, again, our first one coming up, this big game. If we win, we jump ahead of the Cowboys in the standings, most likely. So, not bad overall. We'll check our overall stats. Jaden Daniels 5th in the league in pass yards. I feel like Daniels could have done that 8 for 9, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns to win. But it's nice to know my backup quarterback's good enough. We'll check his player card. He almost actually has his development trait, which is nice. Very similar stats, honestly, to Daniels. Same throw power. Obviously, his accuracy is going to be different. 78 speed. I am interested to see what his dev trait is. I could look on the Neon. I probably will eventually, just because I know I want to unlock it. Been sacked 8 times this year. Offensive line's held up for the rookie, but again, also just to mention that rookie is 5'11", so it is quite the difference in height. I know batted ball stuff that doesn't matter as much in Madden, but I don't like to see small quarterbacks, especially when they're not fast. That's just a preference. At least he's right-handed. I can't play with left-handed quarterbacks. Price, again, awesome so far this season, 6 yards per carry. Daniels, the little bit of carries he's gotten, 4 touchdowns obviously off of them. Price does have 2 fumbles, but that's something we can work on. Again, he's kind of Devon A-Chain like 5'7", 213 pounds, very small, 92 speed, but the juke move, the carry is an 88. Yeah, so we can definitely work on that. Spin moves there, change of direction. Only 54 catching, but he feels like he catches everything. Injury's a little low. I'm not worried about his catching. We'll work on that stuff as the season goes. LaCour, our leading receiver so far, I'd hope so. He's making $36 million this year, $39 million next season. We're not in a cap trouble, but he is 31. So in the offseason, that's somebody we might look to move from, but it's hard to move from somebody who's given me this level of production. Sanchez, obviously, the 2 touchdowns. He only has 3 catches this year. I don't know how much I'll be getting him involved, really. He had a dev game this week, but it wasn't something I was even trying to hit. In this game, you can't sell out for devs. You have to just go for the win. If you sell it for a dev trade and lose, that's going to be the difference you make in the playoffs and missing. Again, blocking wise, little concerned that all my young pieces. I mean, he's a lock. He's never leaving this roster. Only in year 2 and 87 overall. But Rutger, Von Cox, little concerned with the amount of pressure they give up. But obviously, being a tackle with X factors on, he's only a 75 overall, mostly in pass protecting. But 88 pass block, giving up a decent amount of pressure. We'll pay attention to it. I'd like to imagine it's going to get better. But you never know with X factors on. Those abilities do kind of crazy things. Safeties leading the team in tackles, not a good sign. That's something we want to change. We want these linebackers to get up there. That means too many guys are getting in the second level. Too many passes are being hit deep over the corners. I knew corners would be a little bit of a problem. Matt Finch, only a 77 overall. He was a first-round pick, but that man coverage needs to boost up quickly, especially with the way I play. 94 speed, so we're going to let him slide. Amos, another guy, his man coverage is there, so we'll let it go slide. But these guys, if the secondary's up here this much, then the front seven's not doing their job, or we're giving up too many shots down the field. I'm leaning more towards it's the corners not holding up the coverage. Interception wise, everyone's tied with 1. Even our defensive end's got an interception. I forgot about that. Defensive wise, we have a couple touchdowns. Obviously, we saw that in the review of the games. 3 for 6. He was 1 for 3 when he got here, when we picked him up from free agency. So 2 for 3, not awful. Obviously, an extra point blocked. His second one blocked this season. Only one came, again, in Washington. We'll keep an eye on the kicker position. It's definitely not something we're locked into. We did re-sign him for next year, but it's not a huge commitment. Only lose a couple $100K if we cut him. Completion percentage-wise, not happy with 63%. That needs to get up to about a 68. Interceptions, unacceptable. 10 interceptions on the season. We're only 5 games in. Weekly awards we'll look at since we're here. I don't believe we've had anyone so far. Maybe Price at 1 game. No, even see Milroe. That's what I'm really happy about. Milroe, 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, 46 yards. That just feels like a game we win. 5 touchdowns, 7 touchdown game from Milroe in week 2. Then in week 3, we kind of locked him up and it didn't matter. First in offensive yards, obviously some people haven't played this week. The Eagles have. So we're really good offensively. Points per game wise, 5th in points per games. 2 guys ahead of us are in division. It's not great to see. We're up there in first downs. Just efficient, moving the chains. Kind of where you want to be. Sack leaders. Eagles seem like they get a... I mean, he's just all around there. Interceptions, he's forced 10. We're only at 5. We're up there in the sack numbers, so we're doing better than I thought. Obviously, 177 points. One of the worst defenses in the league paired with one of the best offenses. That's an awful matchup when you play a guy like this, who doesn't give up points, gets pressure, forces turnovers. The turnovers need to change. That turnover margin, that will lose us the game when we eventually get to Philly. Again, that's something we're going to work on as the season goes along. But we're getting close to getting used to this team. Overall, it's been a good season so far. As you see, passing leaders, Drake May's up there. Love to see that. Gibbs, if I'm not mistaken, Gibbs won MVP last year. He's on pace for it again, almost 1,000 yards, 5 games in, 12 touchdowns. Wilbur leading receiving yards. Those touchdowns are ridiculous too. But obviously you're going to pair that with Drake May well. Jahmyr Gibbs, Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. So that's just somebody we're going to have to look forward to when we eventually play the Lions. Again, Eagles guy, won the last Super Bowl. We're going to see really soon how we par up with the top dogs in the league. Obviously, we beat that 0-4 Falcons team. We lost to a 3-2 now Dolphins team. The Raiders. Where can I find the records? Oh, that schedule again. Standings. Raiders are 2-2, solid user. So we've lost to some good users. Obviously, the Seahawks 4-1. We lose to. We'll live with that. Dolphins again, 3-2, winning record guys. We're beating the guys who, we beat the 1-4 Panthers. We beat the 0-4 Falcons. So it looks like we're kind of in that middle of the pack right now, where we haven't beat the best guys, but we've definitely beat the guys who haven't had a struggle so far. I know the Falcons had a struggle season a little bit last year as well. Not crazy, We need a win against a good team though, and we got a tough schedule coming up. Like I said, this division's going to be brutal. We still have all 6 games to go. Injury report, we got nothing to go off of because we stayed healthy outside of Jane Daniels here and there getting nicked up. That's a torn pectoral that we gave to the. You're going to score 60 on us. At least we can come out and I wouldn't say ruin the season of him because he still has Tua. He hasn't used Tua. But when you have an 83 overall quarterback and your rookie gets hurt, you might just have to defer back to it. Anyway, that's it. That's going to be the first episode again. We'll see how it looks. If people watch it, if people are enjoying it, we'll go back to it in a couple weeks and recap some more that's going on with our team here. Otherwise, see you later.